gentlemen, welcome all. It is time for liftoff. Come
9,
on.
8, 7,
Countdown with me.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Come on.
1, 0.
Here we go.
Ignition. Liftoff.
Come on.
Liftoff. 30 minutes.
Come on, get up there, man.
Get ready.
There we go.
Hold on to your strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hat.
And get ready for the ride of your life.
The show with no name time.
Where?
On Vaughn Radio.
Oh, right. Vaughn Radio.
With no name.
Let's go. All right, amigos, all aboard. All aboard, all aboard. It's time for another exciting edition of the show with no name. And it's official. We are in April. Yesterday was April Fool's Day. You say Dia de los Inocentes. We say April Fool's Day. And I gotta be honest, I don't think I played any pranks on anyone yesterday. Yeah, I already told you guys how the last one ended up. All right, well, welcome to another edition. I am gonna challenge you today. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna play, and most importantly, we're gonna have fun as we learn English. Something you can do with all our programs here on Vaughn Radio. Starting your day with the wacky, exciting, energetic Rob Grams, the Pro Bow Show. And then you can meet your drill sergeant, Fitz. That's right, he's going to make sure you know every single structure, every little pronunciation tweak in the English language. And that show is right before this show every day. It's called No Excuses. Download the Vaughn Radio app and you can listen to all our shows wherever, whenever. As I always say, there's no wrong place to learn English, amigos. All right, let's kick off with the question of the week.
Question of the week.
That's right, amigos. Question of the week, and a nice round of applause to all my students who have participated already. Thank you. I'm telling you, the sooner you participate, the easier it is for me, because then I get it done and I get it out of the way. If you haven't participated yet, don't worry, you still have time. Let me just remind you, this week's question, what I try and do is I don't want them to all be positive, like who's your biggest role model, or, all the, of course, we always look at that stuff. But also I want to hear the way you express yourselves about something you dislike, or you loathe, or you detest. See what I mean? Just to use other words. So this week's question is, what is your biggest complaint about your job? What is your biggest complaint? Ahora, cuidado, el verbo is to complain, y el sustantivo es a complaint. What is your biggest complaint about your job? Even if you have your dream job, the job you've always dreamed of, you love everything, there's always a part where you're like, oh man, this is the part I like the least. And I think that's with everything. The same way we always have a favorite part, no matter how much we like a job. And believe me, I've had many, many odd jobs, trabajos random, cualquiera, when I was growing up, just trying to support myself in school. In school, that's another way of saying university. When you're in school, it means you're still studying. So send me a 1-minute voice message. You can send it to alonso@grupovon.com. As I said, so many students have participated already. So thank you. And you can tell us what your biggest complaint is in your job. I say keep it about your current job. I just hope your boss doesn't listen to it. Well, if so, then maybe you should use a fictitious name or a fictitious company. Either way, I urge you to participate. It's question of the week, and send it to me before Thursday evening. And we'd love to hear from each and every one of you. All right, amigos, let's move on to our pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. ¿Quieres estar al tanto de todas nuestras promociones en la Vaughan Esfera? Well, now you can be in the loop. Puedes estar al tanto. Puedes enterarte de ofertas, novedades y eventos. Y mucho más. Puedes encontrar todo eso en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Eso es, en grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Ahí tendrás toda la información de última hora. Guárdalo como favorito. grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. And stay in the loop. That's right, folks. You can get more information at our website there, Cursos Destacados, and you can find out all about our urban camps. We've got our weekend camps, summer camps, and now is the time. So if you're looking to get ready, I wouldn't put it off, aplazarlo, I wouldn't put it off too much longer. All right, well, amigos, today we're going to listen to something from, I think, one of our most amazing materials, one of our most recent materials, and this is part of our Speak English collection. We've got a collection of books called Speak English, and we've got the first one, which is A1 and A2. The second one in the collection is Speak English B1, and the third one in the collection is Speak English B2. And you guys can access those over at vaughantienda.com. Even if you're on Amazon, you can get those. They are very useful. They're full of vocabulary, expressions, and they teach you these tricks of the trade, the things you need to know to feel comfortable using the language at that level. But don't ever, my students are like, I have a B2. Don't get too obsessed on what the level is. I would think more about, where you feel comfortable. Do you feel comfortable watching Disney movies that are pretty easy to follow? Or do you feel comfortable watching, a series like The Sopranos or The Wire or something like that? And if, just be realistic. That's what I always tell my students. But these books are awesome. You can get them for just a little over $15, and they are chock full of amazing content and audio. So we're going to listen to some audio right now from one of these books. This one is from Speak English B2. Speak English B2 is the material, and it was written by, I should tell you this too, the one and only Ximena Holiday. So let's give it a listen, and then I'm going to have a challenge for you guys. And today we're going to listen to something that has to do with scheduling meetings and professional skills. I think that's something that is applicable to all of us.
Calling all FYIers. I need your undivided attention for this matter of utmost importance. While this week's show may manipulate your mind and leave you in a trance, you can bet your bottom dollar we are going to learn lots of useful English, laugh out loud, and be spellbound through and through. That is, as long as you obey and consume. Join me as we take a peek at the powerful weapon known as propaganda on this week's episode of FYI.
Welcome to For Your Info.
En inglés.
You got it. All right. Well, guys, sorry, I had a little technical problem there. So I just put on the first effect I could, and that was the propaganda episode of FYI. Also, you got an Easter episode, but for some reason, I don't know why, I just had a little technical glitch. So we're going to change gears. We're still going to do the pop quiz right now, but we're going to just switch up the content. So we're going to take a look at adjectives, because for some reason, I don't know what I did with that audio, and I'm trying to access it over here, and it won't open. So don't worry, there's always a plan B. So we're going to take a look at some adjectives, and these are from adjectives, adjetivos en inglés, que deberías conocer. Now, I know you guys know all the nice common ones. Look, that in fact, I just used probably the most common one. Nice. We love that. It doesn't only mean agradable, majo, but it also means as well chulo, guay. Oh, nice. Did you get a new car? Nice. Really cool. Another one. And remember, I don't want you to use the ones we always hear, because, for example, esto es muy duro. Now, you can say difficult, but there's just one problem. A lot of the students say difficult, right? They mispronounce it. They say difficult, right? When it's really difficult, right? So why not say hard or tough, or my favorite one of all, challenging? Ooh, that's a good one. Challenging. All right, so let's see. I'm going to give you some over here. Now, there's no wrong answer as long as it makes sense. But let's do this. Let's practice a couple of them first, and then I'll give you some. Has hecho un trabajo maravilloso. You've done, you can say a marvelous job, but that's not as common as saying a terrific job. An excellent job. An awesome job. A great job. Terrific. That's one that throws my students off too. Terrific. Right? Because it sounds negative. It's not negative. Terrific, not terrorific. Like you're thinking it's terrorífico. Right? That would be terrible, which we use. Terrible. Or you can also say awful. Right? Oh man, that was awful. That was terrific. Exact opposites. All right. Él es de fiar. He's trusted. It's not really the one we would say. Trusted is, I'm your trusted teacher, but there's another one. It's trustworthy. That means you're worthy of receiving trust. People can trust you. You are trustworthy. Another one that comes to mind, excellent, praiseworthy. And I honestly feel this, folks. I feel that adjectives are the key to really, really expressing your opinion the way you want to. clearly. The more adjectives you know, the more specific you can be. Maybe you're not angry. Maybe you're just annoyed. Or maybe you're just fed up, que es harto. See, they're a little bit different, even though they can be related, because they all are somewhat negative emotions, right? All right, so let's do a couple more here. Es improbable. Did you say it's improbable? Well, it's improbable that we will use that. You know why? Because we usually say unlikely. So likely or unlikely. See? These are the ones we use. Again, you can get these from adjetivos en inglés que deberías conocer. All right, here's one. And this is the first one for you guys. You can give me all three in one comment, and then we'll take a look at your comments in a moment. La habitación está un poco cargada. La habitación está un poco cargada. That's number one, okay? That means it's hard to breathe. Maybe it's a little bit hot, right? The second one. Las cosas andan sin sobresaltos. O sea, todo bien, todo en orden. How would you say that? Again, there are several ways to say each of these. Let's see what you guys come up with. And the next one, and this is the third one. The third one I'll give you. Tu jefe está muy disgustado con tu actitud. Disgustado. Disgusted? No. Because disgusted doesn't mean disgustado. In fact, that's a false friend. What is disgusted? Harto. Let me see. Let me take a look at the translation here. Asqueado, indignado, enojado. So it's not exactly the same. Disgustado is more your... Oh, I almost said it. All right, so there you go, folks. You've got three different ones. Again, there's no wrong way as long as it means the same thing. Let's go on over to our chat room and see who's with us. We've got David. David's in the house. He says, good morning, Alberto. David, great to have you with us as always. He's always here bright and early. Hey, there's another way of saying early. Bright and early. So let's work on that today. You guys are usually pretty good at that stuff, I've got to say. You know, at using more than just three adjectives. And again, this is something native speakers are guilty of. I've seen it a million times. You know, people I know, friends of mine in the United States, they use the same 6 or 7 adjectives over and over. Even in Spain, I have friends who just use the same 6, 7 adjectives over and over again, right? And in the end, well, you know, we want to leave that comfort zone, even in our own language. Don't you want to sound educated? I like to in English and Spanish. So, David, welcome. It's great to have you here with bells on, con muchas ganas, with bells on, as we say. Let's see, we've got Chris Valrol. What's up, Chris? She says, morning, dear show with no namers. Today I was able to listen to Rob and Fitz. Oh, wow, that's awesome. That is a complete morning. So Chris Valrol, she is warmed up. Her engines are running and her wheels are turning, right? That's another way of saying that we're thinking, no, todo está en movimiento. Her wheels are turning. And she says, I'm happy as a clam. Wait. You smell that? Happy as a clam. Happy as Larry. There's another way to say it. Who is this Larry guy? So to be happy as a clam. Como una almeja, we say. Reminds me of another expression that we use with seafood. The world is your oyster. The world is your oyster. El mundo es tu ostra? What? That means the world is yours. Para comértelo. Is anybody getting hungry here? We're talking about seafood. And we've also got a classic joke. Let's see if you know this one. I'll give you a pause just to see if you know it. So I'm on a seafood diet. What's the rest? Do you know the rest? This is a totally native. It's as old as English itself. I'm on a seafood diet. Well, now with the summer coming around, you talk about Operación Bikini. It means I see food and I eat it. Okay. All right. But hey, that's as old. I'm telling you, some jokes, they're going to be there. They've been there since the beginning of time, and they'll continue to be there till the end of time. I'm convinced. There's Laura, lovely Laura. She says, good morning, lovely show with no-namers. Let's get ready for this terrific show and make the most of it. Great to have you all on board. And a totally native over there for that use of terrific. I'm telling you, that is probably one of the words that I've seen my students use the least. Honestly, I think they're afraid of it. They're like, oh no, people are going to misunderstand me. No, because if we were going to say terrorífico, we would say it's horrific. See, it's not even usando la palabra horror. We don't even say terror movies, películas de terror. We call them horror movies. So see, don't worry about it. Although, if you've been to Disney, you know they've got a ride, una atracción, it's a free fall, una caída libre, and it's called the Tower of Terror. So yes, we would say too, we would use maybe the adjective, hablando de adjetivos. I was terrified. I was completely terrified. All right, let's see if anybody, we've got a lot of people checking in over here, ready to rock and roll. Is anybody going to take a stab at our adjectives in today's pop quiz? All right, the first one. La habitación está un poco cargada. Let's see. I'm going to look at other synonyms in English, right? So definition, English synonyms. Okay. Laura said, oh, good observation here, Laura. Yeah, she says, it's like hysterical to say very funny. Yeah, absolutely. 9 times out of 10, because you can say the baby was crying hysterically. You're hysterical right now. But 9 times out of 10, if you say something is hysterical or somebody is hysterical, it means they are extremely funny. They are a riot. Hey, we're talking about a lot of rock groups here. Hysteria, Def Leppard, Quiet Riot. I see music everywhere. Music and food, folks. All right. Is anybody going to take a stab at it? Does anyone know that first one? Un poco cargada. So some ways to say it that are less common. Airless. I've never said that, but somebody would get it. You know, it's airless. I guess you would just say, could somebody please open a window? Confined. Yeah, but we don't use it very often. Confined. The word we use is stuffy. Stuffy. Man, it is really stuffy in here. And the next thing that you would say is, could we open a window, please? It's really stuffy. You say cargado. El ambiente, no? Está cargado. It's stuffy. And you know how I learned that one in Spanish? I'm not kidding here. I learned this word in Spanish on a Vaughan adjectives translation list. So I remember when I was in class with my students at different banks, different places, I would go down the list, and I swear to God, just by repeating them a couple times, okay, we're going to do this list with this class, this list with that class, I learned these expressions. So what am I getting at? Our translation lists, our materials really do work. I know because I've not only learned Spanish from them when I was using them in my classes and when I still do use them in my classes, but at the same time, I'm not just remembering it. I'm not just learning Spanish. I'm remembering the Spanish that I learned. So There it is, folks. If you want some materials for self-study, you can go to vaughntienda.com. If you're looking for courses and what we've got going on in the Vaughn world, you can go over to grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados. Folks, we are going to a quick commercial break right now. We've got so much to do coming up in the second part of today's show. I look forward to hearing from all of you. We'll be right back in just a moment, so stick around. Hello, amigos. Welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. So much to cover in the rest of today's show. We're going to kick off with the Say What soundbite. After that, we've got our spelling bee. We've got homophones. We still have to check our answers on our pop quiz. In fact, it looks like we've got somebody who is taking a stab at it. Your amiga, your classmate, an example to follow. Chris Valrol. Always rising to the challenge. Rising up, back on the street. Did my time, took my chances. Hey, that's an awesome song. To go the distance, we can learn in that one. Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. To go the distance, to do more than is expected of you. Hey, we can learn a lot from music, my amigos. Plus, I can't think of a song that pumps me up more than that song from the Rocky soundtrack. You know, I throw my arms up in the air. Even if I'm lying in bed, I feel like a champion. All right, amigos, let's kick off with the Say What soundbite. Say what? What? All right. It's your Say What soundbite right now. This is where you guys hear from another person aside from myself. It's a famous person. Maybe the person's alive, maybe the person's dead. But the good thing is you're going to hear the gamut here. La gama completa. You'll hear every accent under the sun. I think we've heard Australian, even non-native speakers, which many English speakers, such as yourselves, are non-native. And that's what? Their voice doesn't count? Now we're not going to listen to Rafa Nadal? And by the way, Rafa Nadal's English has improved. I don't know if you've seen videos of him from when he was first getting started and now, but man, impressive. Hey, and that goes for all of you too. You know why? Because you go the distance. Terminas la carrera, rematas, you might say. All right, amigos. Well, as always, you need to pay close attention in this section, and we're going to see if you guys can gather some information from this. You're going to hear it 4 times. This is the first listen.
I was a writer before I was a disc jockey, and I've been writing first for little fanzines and then for better known magazines really since my college days. And I wrote a good many record reviews for Rolling Stone in the early days.
All right, there you go. He speaks pretty fast, but I think pretty clearly, right? The person, okay. A native speaker, I don't think you guys realize it either. A lot of my students say to me, hey, Alberto, why do you guys speak so fast in English? And I'm like, okay, right back at you. Te lo devuelvo la pregunta. Why do you guys speak so fast in Spanish? It's hard to keep up. Mantener ese ritmo. All right, so here we go with the Say What soundbite for the second time. I'd like to hear what you heard in your best English. Here we go.
I was a writer before I was a disc jockey, and I've been writing first for little fanzines and then for better known magazines really since my college days. And I wrote a good many record reviews for Rolling Stone in the early days.
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah. Wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así da gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damian, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the shit. That's right, folks. This book is the shit, available wherever fine books are sold. You can also pick it up at Von Tienda, where we take a look at a lot of the stuff we look at in our pop quiz comes straight from Von Tienda. And as you know, we've got something for everybody. It doesn't matter what level you may be, B2, or who knows, maybe you just need to work on business English. Whatever it is, we've got you covered. All right, let's see. We've got Chris Valrol. She's participating in our pop quiz, and she says the room is a bit stuffy. Yes, that's the word. I mean, you could say there's not a lot of air in here, but really there's one way to say it that's very common, and that's it. Stuffy. Stuffy. Not to be confused with stuffed. If you tell somebody you're stuffed, it means that you can't eat anymore. Excellent job, Chris. Let's take a look at the second one. She says, things are going smoothly. That's right. We use it a lot. How did everything go? Oh, went smooth. An expression that we use is smooth sailing. Smooth sailing. I think the translation would be de viento en popa or something. Smooth sailing. So things are going smoothly. All right. And the last one, your boss is very upset with your attitude. Excellent job. Awesome job, Chris, knocking it out of the park over there. All right. Does anybody want to participate in our Say What soundbite? Going once? Going twice? If not, we've got to move on. Because as you know, there's always lots to cover in today's show. Well, an everyday show. All right. Well, folks, it's time for your Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
All right, folks, it's our Spelling Bee over here. But before we get into our Spelling Bee, we've got Laura. Laura's taking a stab at our Say What soundbite. Let's see what she observed. She says, I heard an American man reminiscing about how he started writing. All right, so far so good. He says that he was a writer before he was a DJ, since he started writing in college, and he wrote an article about the Rolling Stones. I'll tell you what, spot on. Spot on. Excellent job, Laura. Yeah, definitely. And great choice of words there. I heard an American man reminiscing. Wow. Beautiful word. And she said college instead of university, which is also, I know a lot of times you guys say university. Well, it's normal because you say it. But a lot of times we just say I went to college instead of university. I know the British, they say I went to uni. They cut it down. They say uni. All right. Anybody else? If not, we're going to move on to our Spelling Bee, which is usually one of the most challenging sections. But Laura, you hit the nail on the head, amiga. Wonderful job. All right. Ready for Spelling Bee round one? Here we go. Let's capitalize the first letter of every word as always. The first one is Juan space Ponce space Leon. The second one is Florida. The third one is ST period space AUGUSTINE. The fourth one is ST period space JOHNS space RIVER. The fifth one is SANTERVAS space CAMPOS. And the last one is PUERTO space RICO. Do you know about Vaughn groups? Well, I'm going to tell you all about them. They are group English classes that you can do via video conference or in person. And the good news is you can start whenever you want. And you can keep the same timetable, teacher, and classmates throughout the whole course. And the best part, there's no strings attached. Sin compromiso. And if you act now, you can get a 5% discount for paying up front. And if you stick with the course for 6 months, you'll get a 50% discount in June. Wow, what a deal! As if you needed more reasons to learn English with Vaughn. Check out our Vaughn groups. Have fun and make friends as you learn English. Sign up now while there are still spots available. Call us 911-385831, or you can go to our website, grupovaughn.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media and find out if Vaughn groups are for you. More information at grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados. All right, let's see. We've got Chris Valrol, and she's participating in our Say What soundbite. Let's see what Chris heard. She says, I heard a man who wears at least 2 hats. Chris, there you go again. He's a writer and a DJ. Yeah, to wear many hats means that you do a lot of different things. He's a writer and a DJ, and he started writing in college. She gave us both options, in or at. Mejor in college, and he wrote for many magazines. Wonderful. Excellent synopsis. All right, let's take a look. We've got Born to Iron Man, who's going to take a stab at our spelling bee. Wow. Born to Iron Man. You didn't even let me finish the last word. So let's see. I know you're fast. There's no doubt about it. Let's see if you've got them all. It looks, at first glance, a primera mirada, at first glance, it looks perfect. But let's see. The first one is correct. The second one is also correct. Ooh, the third one's correct. 50. Now you're 50% of the way through it. The next one is correct. The fifth one is correct. And the sixth one? Is also correct. Excellent job. Born to Iron Man. Wow. Impressive. What can I say? You nailed it. And I'm sure if all of you in the group can see those words, you'll know what they all have in common. All right, well, let's go through it again. This time, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be really nice. All right? The first one is JUAN space PONCE space LEON. The second one is FLORIDA. The third one is ST period space AUGUSTINE. The fourth, ST period space JOHNS space RIVER. The fifth one, SANTERVAS space CAMPOS. Yeah, you got to be careful, even native speakers with that M and that N. So you got to make sure you're smiling. Your mouth should be open when you finish an N. See, right now I'm smiling, N. And your mouth should be closed when you finish an M. See? All right. Now, hey, I'm just saying it because numerous times I've said, did you say M or N? So even native speakers can mix those up. And the last one is PUERTO space RICO. All right, I see we've got some more winners here. I can't believe it. Folks, please give it up for Chris Valrol and also Laura. So Born to Iron Man, Chris Valrol, and Laura, all three of them nailing our say what no, not the say what soundbite, the spelling bee. All right, so why did I choose all of these words? What do all of these words have in common? Well, I'll say them and then maybe you can tell me. The first one, Juan Ponce de Leon. I left out the de because I knew once you saw Juan Ponce Leon, you would know exactly who I was talking about. So Juan Ponce de Leon was the first one. The second one, Florida. Now, I know you say it very different. You say Florida, and technically you named it. So, yeah, I can't really correct you there. But just so you know, in the U.S., we say Florida, Florida, Flar. It's like Florida. And the one that my wife always has difficulty saying is Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Can you say that one? Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Whoa, that's a mouthful. All right, so Florida, or Florida as you call it. The next one, St. Augustine. St. Augustine. Now, this is perhaps one of the most famous cities, I should say towns, in the United States. It's one of the first settlements, and it's where today, in the year 1513, Ponce de Leon came ashore on what is now the U.S. state of Florida. And he landed somewhere between St. Augustine, which, again, I've never been, but I hear it's absolutely gorgeous. And obviously, if you like history, well, it's one of the earliest settlements in the United States. Let me see. St. Augustine, the city is founded in 1565 by Spanish explorers. It is the oldest continuously inhabited European establishment settlement in the contiguous United States. So it's old. I think it's probably and it's cool. I'm seeing pictures of it here. And you've got a fort with cannons. You've got a beautiful lighthouse. And you've got alligators. Oh, yeah, Florida. You can't have Florida without its gators. And do you know Gatorade? Well, what does that have to do with alligators? Well, Gatorade, the secret ingredient in Gatorade is alligator blood. No, I'm just kidding. It's because there's a team called the Florida Gators. And of course, down in Florida, it's very muggy. Muggy is another way to say humid. It's probably more common to say muggy when we're talking about weather. And so it is probably one of the muggiest areas in the United States. So what happened? These athletes, they were sweating bullets. I mean, they literally were losing all their electrolytes. Back then, I don't think they knew too much about these things, but now everybody knows, you got to replenish your electrolytes. And so they developed this kind of drink that they figured would not only, quench their thirst, saciar la sed, but it would also, as far as quench their thirst, replenish these essential salts and minerals and things that the body loses when you sweat, when you perspire. También lo decimos así. And so it was named after that team, which was named after the animal, alligators. So in the end, it does have something to do with gators. And aid is just something we put at the end of something. Limonada, lemonade, right? Es como decir bebida de algo. So I've never been, I used to live in Florida, but I lived down in Orlando. And I never got the chance to see St. Augustine, but it is definitely one of the most historic places in the United States. And number 4 is the St. John's River, the St. John's River. And that's where he supposedly landed, between the city of St. Augustine and the St. John's River. And the mouth, you say the same thing, right? La boca del río, the mouth of the St. John's River. The fifth one was San Tervas de Campos, which is located in Valladolid, in Castilla y León. And this is where Juan Ponce de León was born. And I guess it makes sense. He's literally de León, Castilla y León. Hey, you guys know, I just realized that now. I thought it was because his dad was a lion. Okay. All right. But no, I didn't realize De Leon. They were talking about the place. And I've heard, remember, we don't learn too much, right? In the United States, our history is, we, we don't, we look very locally. But of course, this is a part of our history. We always talk about the conquistadors. Yeah, that's what we call them. No hemos cambiado la. You can say they're conquests, but really they're called conquistadores. And so San Tervas del Campo. And the last one is Puerto Rico, which is also a place that is very historic. In fact, when I saw the fort, the picture of the fort in St. Augustine, Florida, it reminded me of the fort in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And so, yeah, these are all places where if you want to see some Spanish culture, you can go to the United States and get some Spanish culture. Another place that also had tons of Spanish culture was New Orleans, Nueva Orleans. Yeah, because oftentimes they talk about the French Quarter, no, el barrio francés. But if you look around, you're like, wait, this architecture is Spanish. Wait, their jambalaya is like a paella. Wait, they have a roscon on right. Wait a second. And before you realize, the French, like they're very good at doing, no offense to the French there, but they're very good at taking credit for stuff. Oh, yeah, it's the French Quarter. Yeah, well, the tour guide, we took a food tour when we were there, and he goes, don't let them fool you. Que no te engañen. This is really the Spanish Quarter. All right, well, folks, we've got to go to a quick commercial break. So much to do in the second half of today's show. We'll be right back with tons more, so stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 3. Oh, my goodness. I hope you guys are having fun. Hope you're learning. And I hope you'll stay tuned to hear all our amazing programs here on Vaughn Radio. We've got exciting content all day long. Right after today's show, stay tuned to Test Your English with Ximena Holiday and Nacho. Then you've got the Lunchtime Show with Rob and Andy. Then you've got Speak Up with Ruby. Followed by Let's Get Random with Jules Linares. Then the Salad with Dave Boys. After the salad, you've got Drive Time with Kyle Miller. After that, our latest show, Frankly Speaking with Chris Frank. And you got the Probo Show and Fitz's No Excuses in the Morning. And don't forget about the one and only Richard Vaughn in Richard Vaughn Live. Download the app and take us with you wherever. And remember this, folks, you are our best ambassadors. It's true. You are our best ambassadors. When people see you out there speaking English, loving English, not afraid of English, then that's when you have to say, oh, you haven't heard of Vaughn? Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with the world. There's a fun way to learn English. It's Vaughn Radio. Folks, let's kick off with homophones.
Homophones, homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. 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 Show with no name.
That's right, folks. Welcome to Homophones. This is a vocabulary section. It's a pronunciation section. But most of all, before the end of today's section, you'll be more familiar with not only the meanings of these words, but you'll also be familiar with the pronunciation. And as always, we'll take a look at some rhyming words as well, because that's another way to make sure you're pronouncing something correctly. Right? If you can pronounce every word or other words with similar pronunciation, then you've got it under control. The example I always use is bridge. Can you pronounce bridge? Puente. Good. Bridge. Bridge. Okay. And then you can pronounce village. Village. If you can pronounce bridge, you can pronounce village. You can pronounce carriage. You can pronounce many different words that end with A-G-E. So let me give you the two words. The first word has many, many meanings. And number one, acciones. So again, we're not just learning one word. We're learning two words and many times with many, many meanings. Acciones in a company, okay? Also, existencias de algo. It's also suministro. It's also caldo de algo. So caldo de pollo. It's also, it means like común, corriente. Okay. Caldo. And let's see. Oh, it's got a lot of, man. All right. Well, just to give you an idea, it's got over 20 meanings. We'll take a look at some of the most common ones. Okay. So that is the first one. And the second word is what you would say, atascado. Okay. So if something is unable to move, it's jammed, it's atascado. So do those two, what are those two words? And do those two words sound exactly the same or not? Also, folks, while you're thinking that through, I'm going to give you your Say What soundbite here. This is your Say What soundbite for the third time. Pay close attention. I don't think it's too tough today.
I was a writer before I was a disc jockey, and I've been writing first for little fanzines and then for better known magazines really since my college days. And I wrote a good many record reviews for Rolling Stone in the early days.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Vaughn Radio proudly presents 2 brand spanking new shows. You can join Ruby every weekday on her program Speak Up from 3 to 4 p.m. Speak Up is for students who are just getting started and superstars who want to go over the basics. Let Ruby guide you through the English experience on her new program Speak Up on Vaughn Radio from 3 to 4 p.m. And Frankly Speaking, hosted by Chris. This program will be on every evening from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And in Frankly Speaking, Chris Frank will make you feel like you were at the restaurant or bar with him in a totally native conversation. Learn English as you have fun with Frankly Speaking. So make sure you check out our 2 latest programs. You're going to love them. Frankly Speaking with Chris from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and Speak Up with Ruby from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. I have a feeling, I have a hunch you're going to love these new programs. Exclusively on Vaughn Radio. Don't miss them. That's right. Download our free app and you'll never miss a beat. No te pierdes ni una. That's a great expression and a great song by the Kaiser Chiefs. Look it up. Take a look at the kids on the street because they never miss a beat. All right, let's see how you guys did. Let's see if you didn't miss a beat in today's homophone section. The first person to participate is Born to Iron Man. And Born to Iron Man, you've got the correct words there. So good stuff there. And he says they don't sound alike. Okay. German gives us both of the words too, and he says they are not homophones. All right. So right now I've got 2 super students telling me it's nay. All right. Let's see. Laura, another super student. She says the words are and correct, and they don't sound alike. All right. Now, is anybody willing to bet against these amazing students here? I wouldn't. Chris Valrol says, I'd say they're not homophones. Oh, man. I dare somebody to go against them. Let's see. Mike Moreno. What's up, guys? What's up, Mike? Welcome aboard. He says the words are and they don't sound the same. All right. Well, let's hear the words here. Stock. The first word is stock. Stock. Does that sound like an O? Not at all. So it's not stock. It's stock. You know when you go to the dentist or the doctor and you got to open your mouth, you go, that's the sound, stock. You know it also from the word rock. It's a type of music, or piedra. Lock, cerradura, right? Ninguno de esos es O, es lock. It reminds me of the movie Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, right? I don't know what you called that one in Spanish. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels with Jason Statham. ¿Cómo lo llamáis? It's a great movie. Seguro que tiene otro nombre. It's got, oh no, is it? It's Guy Ritchie. Chris, help me out. Lock, Stock, right? Mock, burlarse de alguien. Are you mocking me? Stock, rock, lock, mock. En ningún caso es O. It's All right. And the second one? Stuck. They are not homophones. Great job. So the second one is stuck. So let's say them together. Stock, stuck. So let's separate the vowel sounds. Stock, stuck, stock, stuck. And words that rhyme with stuck, muck. Muck is like mugre. It's dirt. It's mud. Muck. Luck. Suerte. Fuck. You can say it if you'd like, if there are no children around. So excellent job, folks. And as I said, the first one is he's got a lot of stock in that company. En este caso no hay que usar ese. Why? Because stock is intereses, acciones como uno. So you could say stocks, but it's not necessary. You could say the company is issuing stock to its employees, for example. Also, think about in existencia. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that in stock. Why? It's out of stock. ¿Ves? Ahora estamos jugando con la palabra, right? Stock up on. To stock up on is hacer suministro de algo. Cargar, ¿no? Guys, we've got to stock up on some supplies for the winter, para el invierno, right? Hacer existencia, hacer inventario. Stock, the stock market, right, is la bolsa, the stock market, donde pones las acciones. You've got also stock characters, and a stock character is like a stereotypical character, right? So, for example, Gary Oldman, right? We looked at him pretty recently on the show. He doesn't do stock characters, right? Stock characters are usually the characters you'll find in a sitcom, right? In a sitcom. All right. So, stock. Also, chicken stock. Si le pongo un tipo vegetable stock, right? Another way to say stock in that case is broth. Broth. Okay. So, wow. And the expression lock, stock, and a barrel is de lleno, completamente, right? Chris says, I think it's lock and stock as well in Spain. Uh-huh. Well, in English, it's lock, stock, and a smoking barrel. Now I can't remember the name of it. Hold on. I've got it over here somewhere. Eso es, lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels. And I've got to say, that's an awesome movie. If you guys haven't seen it, you should check it out. But I will tell you, it's not an easy one to follow. Okay, it's not easy to follow because, well, the accents are pretty tough, even for me as a native speaker. And speaking of movies, why don't we head to the movies? Name that movie. All right, amigos. All right. Grab your popcorn. I was going to say grab some soft drinks, but better to grab some water, I think. You know, not just for your belly, for your teeth, for everything, guys. Remember, the summer isn't too far away, so start making those choices now. Are you going to have a beer or a glass of water? I know my answer. A beer, definitely. Oh, no, wrong answer. Oh, man. See, I'm off to a bad start. I think that's one of the funniest idiomatic expressions you guys have in Spanish, Operación Bikini. I mean, you've got a lot of really, one thing you notice about people is you know the way they think through their idiomatic expressions because it tells you the way they see life. And you, Spaniards, you guys have a sense of humor. And I think that's awesome, honestly. All right, let's take a look at this movie and see if anybody recognizes it. If not, we'll still learn some English from it either way. Here's the opening, or I should say the synopsis. A cold and mysterious character working at a cash truck company responsible for moving a lot of money around Los Angeles each week. That's it. It doesn't tell you what happens. It's just a story of a guy. So I guess this is what we would call, in the same way I just said, we have stock characters. Then we have some movies where the character's everything. So they're not stock characters. They're very specific. And these we call character driven. The perfect example would be, for example, the Big Lebowski, right? That kind of movie, what's interesting in that movie? The characters, the dialogue. It's not so much what's happening, because what's happening is if you really look at it, it's a guy who wants his rug back because somebody pissed on his rug. So if you think about that, wow, there are bigger problems in the world, right? But if you put these amazing characters in it, well, then it's those characters that you come to see. So it's the opposite. We would say a character-driven movie is a movie where the characters are very important. Look at another one, Reservoir Dogs, right? The characters are everything. You're in the same room for the whole movie with the same characters. So it really relies on the characters to keep it interesting, to propel the story forward, propulsar, right? To keep the story moving forward, which is a very important thing. So a cold and mysterious character. Now, cold in this case, I mean sangre fria, I think, somebody who doesn't have a lot of feelings, or they do, and they don't show them at least. A cold and mysterious character working at a cash truck company. And those cash trucks are these big armored trucks, these ones that come and they pick up money from an ATM and they deposit it in a bank or whatever they end up doing with it. But there's always two of them, because one of them is always doing the job and the other one is just there as backup. And in the United States, these guys carry guns. Oh, yeah. Very few people who are not police officers are legally allowed to carry a gun in their job. You get what I'm saying? And that's one of those. So, cash truck company responsible for moving a lot of money around Los Angeles each week. Sounds like the perfect heist story. And what is a heist? A heist is a big, elaborate robbery, right? A heist. There are many movies. In fact, there are movies even called The Heist. All right, let's take a look at this over here. And hey, we were just talking about Jason Statham, right? Well, not really. Well, yeah, we were. We were talking about him, that he's in this movie. And this is his fourth collaboration with Guy Ritchie. So they've worked together many, many times. Before this, now even after this, they've worked together. They just worked together on a new movie about a year or two ago, which was pretty interesting. And Guy Ritchie, I'm sure many of you know, Madonna's ex. He used to be married to Madonna, also a very, unconventional director, unorthodox, as we would say. And this is the fourth time that he worked with Jason Statham, and definitely not the last. The ones they worked on before this were Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That was in 1998. Then you had Snatch. You call that one Cerdos y Diamantes, if I'm not mistaken. Well, in English, snatch means robar. So, man, he snatched her purse. Le robó, snatch. Think about it. It almost makes sense, the word. And also Revolver, which was in 2005. So there's no doubt that they are fans of each other. Their collaboration works. Reminds me of DiCaprio and Scorsese, or De Niro and Scorsese, for that matter. They have a chemistry that works. And when I say it works, well, it sells movie tickets. It puts people's butts in those movie seats, buying popcorn, excited to see Jason Statham kicking ass. And another person that Guy Ritchie has always been a big fan of is Clint Eastwood. I mean, who isn't a fan of Clint Eastwood? Well, he, if you haven't seen the movie, or if you're not familiar with this movie, in this movie, he contrató Scott Eastwood, and Scott Eastwood is Clint Eastwood's son. So interesting stuff there. The movie is called Wrath of Man. Okay, Wrath of Man. And wrath, that's an interesting word because it has a silent W. Wrath, W-R-A-T-H. Wrath of Man. Well, a lot of times we hear about the wrath of God. La ira, wrath, anger, right? Wrath. And the adjective, since we were talking about adjectives before, wrathful. Wrathful. It doesn't exactly flow off your tongue there, but wrathful. We can also say vengeful, right? Que busca venganza, vengativo. Wrath is the word. It's like the word wrist. It has a silent W. Wrath, wrist. Trying to think of another one with a silent W. Wreck, destrozar. If you know the Miley Cyrus song, Wrecking Ball, well, the verb wreck, even though it sounds like an R, it starts with a W. So Wrath of Man, starring Jason Statham, Holt McCallany, and Josh Hartnett. The movie came out in 2021. I have to be honest, I haven't seen it. But I'll tell you something. If I had to see this movie, um, yeah, I would see it. I would see it. I just need to find an hour and 50 minutes to watch the whole thing. Or maybe I can watch it in double speed. Parents, do you feel my pain? All right, let's take a look at the scene I've chosen here. Oh, and by the way, this is not the first time Jason Statham and Scott Eastwood worked together either. They were together in the Fast and Furious 8. So we see a lot of that too. You see people who were in one movie together can sometimes end up in another movie together, even if it's with a different director. And that's a game too that people play. Oh, he was in this movie with this person. People like Chris Valrol and myself, we love to play connect the dots. All right. So Jan says, what do you want? Y el what do you muchas veces es what do you? What do you? It doesn't even sound like English, does it? What do you? What do you want? You here for the money? Now, this is omission. In class, I prefer you practice it correctly, but a lot of times, you want money? Do you? Nos comemos el do. But again, I prefer that you write it, you get used to doing it right, and then later you can omit it. So, what do you? What do you? What do you want? También hay gente que dice what you want. But aquí pone, what do you want? Pero yo lo he dicho, what do you? What do you want? You here for the money? ¿Estás aquí por la pasta? And H says, I don't want the money. I want you to read this. Quiero que lees esto. And I want you guys to pay attention to the verb read because it's one of those tricky verbs. Why? Cuando lo conjugamos se escribe read, 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 pero se pronuncia read, read, read. O sea, remember this. I read a red book. Leí un libro rojo. And Jan says bullets A1 and A2. And they're using this as evidence. You know, when they're showing evidence in a case. So bullets A1, a bullet es una bala. Just be careful. We don't pronounce it ballet, sino bullet. I've heard people mispronounce it. And if you remember when we were talking about Gatorade before, I said the athletes were sweating bullets. And that's a way of saying sweating profusely, sweating a lot. So bullets A1 and A2 entered the right lung. Okay. The right lung is el pulmón derecho, the right lung. And I always tell you guys, I know you know nose and I know you know mouth and ears, but you need to know your vital organs too. Do you know how to say hígado? Liver, liver. And we've got an idiomatic expression with that one too. What am I, chopped liver? ¿Que no cuento yo aquí? ¿Quién soy un don nadie? What am I, chopped liver? So if you don't know those, you can find that. There's an FYI episode on the body, and we take a look at all those things as well as all the idiomatic expressions that have to do with body parts. So he says they entered the right lung, causing collapse. Bullet B1 penetrated the liver. Ahí está, el hígado. And B2 ruptured the... No me acuerdo, sí me acuerdo de mirarlo, pero ¿cómo se dice en español? El bazo. Digo en inglés, en español es bazo. I just said it. Bazo. Tough word there. So it penetrated the liver and B2 ruptured the spleen. La palabra es spleen. S-P-L-E-E-N. Then he says bullets C1 and C2 lacerated the heart, el corazón. Cause of death, causa de muerte, blood loss, pérdida de sangre, blood loss and trauma. Manner of death, homicide. Homicidio, pronunciamos la H, homicide. In summary, the liver, the lungs, the spleen, and the heart. Folks, we're going to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the rest of today's show, so stick around. Welcome back. Welcome back, folks. It's time for part 4 of today's show with No Name on Vaughn Radio. Don't forget, we've got a lot of things going on in the Vaughn world. If you go to grupovaughn.com/cursos destacados, you'll see we've got campamentos de verano en inglés. That's right, we got urban camps. We've also got our Vaughn groups. You've got Vaughn Town, Weekend Town. Also, if you'd like to prepare your Oxford B1, B2, or C1 exam, as well as the material, we've got 3 books dedicated just to passing those exams. And as you know, here at Vaughn, we don't just want you to pass the exam. We want you to feel comfortable using English. Also, you've got the 1-to-1 flex. You can do those via telephone or video conference. Masters. You've got weekend masters. You've got evening masters. You've got full-time masters. Whatever you're looking for, you can find it here. Just go to grupovon.com/cursos destacados and find out more. And if you want materials for self-study, vaughntienda.com. All right, let's get into our double trouble.
Double trouble, baby. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
All right, amigos, you know it. It's double trouble here. This is where you got to use the same word twice. And we've already seen a couple of these words today. If you remember the word stock that we looked at, man, that literally has about 20 different meanings that we could use. So expect to see that one in the future. Now, today, I think this is relatively easy. I would say even a beginner level student should be able to figure this out. No problem whatsoever. Let's see what you guys come up with. Remember that you have to use the same word twice. Él es cazador y también buscador de gangas. You know, these people who always know how to find a deal, right? Speaking of deals, I just told you we've got a lot of deals over at grupovon.com/cursos destacados. So if you're looking for a deal, well, you can go over there and check it out. But that's not the word we're doubling up on. You didn't think I was going to make it that easy, do you? All right, so él es cazador y también buscador de gangas. That's your double trouble. Also, let me give you the say what soundbite over here. This is the 4th and final listen. Let's see if somebody can get it.
I was a writer before I was a disc jockey, and I've been writing first for little fanzines and then for better known magazines really since my college days. And I wrote a good many record reviews for Rolling Stone in the early days.
¿Conoces Weekend Town? La nueva iniciativa de Vaughan.
Pues no.
Es un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. Y es nuevísimo.
A ver, cuéntame más.
Tendrás una inmersión lingüística total durante 2 días. Un total de 24 horas hablando con angloparlantes de todo el mundo.
¡Wow! ¡Qué interesante!
Ganarás confianza y soltura a la hora de comunicarte en inglés. Mejorarás tu comprensión auditiva y tus habilidades conversacionales en una situación de comunicación real en inglés. Ven a Weekend Town y te sorprenderás con todo lo que puede avanzar tu inglés en un fin de semana. Weekend Town de Vaughan. Un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés.
All right, folks, Weekend Town. More information at grupovon.com/ what am I going to say? Cursos destacados. That's right. All right, let's take a look over here. We've got some comments. Mike Moreno says the company went belly up then. Oh, yeah. The company, I don't know what it's referring to there, Mike. The stocks or something, maybe? Because it was a comment you had said during the homophone section. All right, let's see. Mike says, my jokes are even much worse than yours, Alberto. Well, I don't think my jokes are bad. It's you guys that think they're bad. See, I never said my jokes are bad. Just, I never said they were good either. They're dad jokes. And a dad joke is a un chiste limpio, where it's not about being vulgar or saying poo poo and pee pee stuff. Chris says it's Wrath of Man. Nice job, Chris. That is the movie. So I didn't see your comment before. Just be careful because in this case, it's Wrath of Man, el hombre, not men, los hombres, but that's a minor detail. Let's see. She says in Spanish, it's Despierta la furia. And Chris, you knew the word spleen without looking it up? Are you serious? Wow. I had to look it up, even though I remember seeing the word probably when I was preparing the body episode. Also, there's an episode, there's a chapter in my book, English Everywhere, that has to do with the body as well. And I think if you listen to both of those, you look at the audio, well, you listen to the audio and you look at the chapter and you listen to the FYI episodes, I think you'll have almost every important thing. Obviously, there are things that are always left out, but you never know until you need them. I remember the way I learned the word root canal in Spanish. Oh, yeah. I can tell you, I remember it very clearly. I was sitting back in the dentist chair with a drill in my mouth. Zzz, and then the dentist said, after they were cleaning my teeth, the dentist said, vas a necesitar una endodoncia. And I said, oh, endodoncia. What is that? So I went to Word Reference and I looked it up and I said, oh, no, the dreaded root canal. Temido. So a lot of words you learn as well, because you have to. I remember learning I didn't even know that part of my knee, la meseta tibial. It's the part of my knee where I was affected by the accident. I looked it up in English, the tibial plateau. I guess it makes sense. It's the same word. So, but it's good to know the basics, the basic things about your body. Right? If God forbid you're ever out there traveling and you have a problem and you're in Indonesia, well, you're going to probably be able to speak to that person more in English than in Spanish. Again, every place is different, and I'm just using a random example. So, and maybe it's too late then to say, oh, what hurts? Oh, my chest, my lower back. You got to be able to at least describe where and the kind of pain you're feeling. Is it a burning sensation? Maybe it's a tingling, cosquilleo, a tingling sensation. Maybe your arm just went numb. Se parece entumecido, right? Like when it falls asleep, cuando se te queda dormido, when you don't move it in a long time. All right, let's take a look over here. It looks like we have got a winner. Excellent job, Laura. Let me see if you got all right. Well, Laura, you got it. There's one word, and it's exactly the word I thought it would be, because there's always one that's a doozy. But Laura, you got today's Say What soundbite. Wonderful job, Laura. She nailed it. There's one word there, just one word. All right. But we're going to look at it in just a moment. Chris says, well, I know more English medical vocabulary as a nurse. Well, that's what one would think. But I imagine some nurses, well, I guess it's mandatory, right? Es obligatorio saberlo. Well, I know my cousin Herminia, she's a nurse in Barcelona. And well, she has to know all the terms in Catalan, which is obviously that's another ball of wax. Es harina de otro costal there. Because then, okay, Spanish, it's good to know things in Spanish too. It's a very useful language as well as English. So she's got to know it in 3 languages, A, to work there, and then B, obviously, if she wants to take her degree or her studies somewhere else. As you guys know, I don't know if you know this about the United States, there's always a really high demand for nurses. In fact, a lot of times we get nurses even from other countries. There's a high demand, very, very high demand for what we call RNs, An RN is a registered nurse, RN. So, Chris, if you're ever thinking of taking the plunge to the United States. All right. Chris also says we had a subject about English medical vocab. Awesome. Also, too, in general, like barred pronunciation, quitando lo que es la pronunciación, it's pretty easy to a lot of medical terms come from Latin, right? I always tell people that el itis is itis, bronchitis, bronchitis. O sea, if you see it written, you're going to be like, ah, claro. Just be careful because a lot of those words are tricky when it comes time to pronouncing them. Let's see. Chris Valrol is taking a stab at today's Double Trouble, and it seems like she's the only one who's going to take a stab at it. She says he's a hunter and also a bargain hunter. Chris, you nailed it. He's a hunter and also a bargain hunter. That's right. So a hunter, somebody who hunts. A deer hunter. Hey, there's a movie. That's a movie with Robert De Niro. And we mentioned Robert De Niro. Is everything connected in the world or am I just going crazy? So he's a hunter and also a bargain hunter. So if you're a bargain hunter, you're never going to pay full price. You know, I know a lot of people like that. Myself as well. When I go to the airport, for example, I know that they charge you 14 euros for a sandwich. And even though maybe you can afford it, you know, especially since we don't travel very often, I refuse to pay it. And I am a bargain hunter. If any of you have listened to the episode, the FYI episode on supermarkets, you'll see I'm in all the clubs. Dia, what is the other one? Carrefour, BM. I'm in all the clubs, every single one. And last month, I got like 60 euros in refunds, ¿no? In vouchers, in vales, a voucher, que también de ahí podemos aprender la palabra poner la mano en el fuego. You guys are such great English speakers. I can vouch for you. Vouch, dar un vale, right? A voucher. Seguro que lo habéis visto, la palabra voucher. Pues ya tenemos el verbo que es to vouch for someone. So excellent job, Chris, in the Double Trouble, and Laura in our Say What soundbites. Let's celebrate because it's time for famous birthday trivia.
Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Famous birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's famous birthdays here on the show with no name, and let's see who's celebrating a birthday today. The first person was born in 1945 today. Her last name is Cazar. Are you serious? Well, we just looked at that word. Well, then you should at least know her last name is Cazar. También es la caza. It's a verb as well. A noun as well. So, and her first name, I'll give you that. Now you'll definitely know her name if you know me. She has the same first name as my mom. And her last name is Cazar or Caza. All right. She's an American actress who was born in 1945, as I said earlier. She played in Popeye, where she debuted as Mrs. Oxheart. Ox es, ¿cómo es la palabra? Lo estaba viendo con mi hija ayer en un libro. Ox, buey, ox. Right? Mrs. Oxheart in Popeye. Y ojo, si no lo sabías, en inglés Popeye es pop eye. Ojo que hace, ojo resaltón. Right? Also a very famous chicken chain, Popeye's, Louisiana Chicken. And, well, then she portrayed a male character. Okay, this is before this was a trend. and she portrayed a male character named Billy Kwan in a movie I haven't seen. It's called The Year of Living Dangerously. It came out in 1982, and she won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. This made her the first person to win an Oscar for portraying a character of the opposite sex. She's also appeared in Dune, not the latest incarnations of Dune, but the 1984 version. Then Silverado in 1985. She was also in Kindergarten Cop. You guys remember Kindergarten Cop with what's his name? Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh man, that was a funny one. Even though I'm not a huge Schwarzenegger fan, I think that was a fun movie. Kindergarten Cop, which came out in 1990. Also, Pocahontas in 1995 and Pocahontas 2 in 1998. I didn't even know there was a second part. It's called Journey to a New World. Did you guys know there was a Pocahontas 2? And maybe that was a straight-to-video release. And the last one was Stranger. These are some of the most common ones that she's been in, most well-known. Stranger Than Fiction, which came out in 2006. And yeah, that's it. Been in many, many other things, but those are some of the things that you would know her for the most. Number 2, this guy was born in 1939, an American singer-songwriter, and he shaped, or at least was one of the pioneers in helping to shape the sound of Motown in the 1960s. They called him the Prince of Motown, the Prince of Soul, as he was called. And some of his songs, Ain't That Peculiar? No es algo. No es eso peculiar. What about this one? I'm sure you know it. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Also, I heard it through the grapevine. Boom, 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 boom. I heard it through the grapevine. Me lo contó when we don't want to reveal the source. Me lo contó un pajarito. Great song, and it's not a positive song. He's saying, I heard it through the grapevine that not much longer would you be mine, que no ibas a ser mía mucho más. O sea, que me has dejado para otro. Me enteré por ahí, por Radio Macuto, I think you say, por Radio Vaughan. I heard it through the grapevine. And then he's got What's Going On, What's Going On, What's Going On. And one of my favorite ones, Let's Get It On. Let's Get It On. Si dices esa frase, estás diciendo, vamos al lío, tío. And I mean sexually. Let's get it on. And all you have to do is just hear his voice and you'll know what he's talking about. And last but not least, speaking of radio, this is not Radio Macuto, but this is an American radio host who was born today in 1941. And he played a lot of different characters. He did novelty songs. So what he did is he blurred the lines between being a serious DJ and being a comedian. And, you know, being able to play some funny different sketches. So this guy was definitely a pioneer. And a lot of people say we wouldn't have the one and only Weird Al Yankovic, you know, the king of parodies, the king of spoofs, Weird Al Yankovic. We wouldn't have had him, you know. So let's see. Chris says, happy birthday to the great Linda Hunt, Marvin Gaye, and the last one, let me see. I don't think that's his real name. No, the last one. The last one is a guy named Barrett Eugene Hansen. They better known as, I should say, Dr. Demento. Dr. Demento from Minnesota. And that's right. He's still alive. I didn't know that. He's 82 years old. But this guy was a pioneer as far as mixing comedy and radio altogether. And speaking of Dr. Demento, that was today's Say What soundbite. He was talking about the beginnings of his career. And he says, I was a writer before I was a disc jockey. And I'd been writing for little fanzines. Oh, maybe you did get the word, Laura. A ver, lo leí. No, for little fanzines. Esto es una mezcla de palabras. Es revistas de fans. O sea, más como no oficial. You know, these kind of like, it's a magazine, but it's like a smaller, like more like, it's not Rolling Stone. It's more these little self-produced, fan projects. So they're called fanzines. It's una mezcla de fan y revista. So I've been writing first for little fanzines and then for better-known magazines, really since my college days. And I wrote a good many record reviews, de vinilos, for Rolling Stone in the early days. So here he is, birthday boy, Dr. Demento.
I was a writer before I was a disc jockey, and I've been writing first for little fanzines and then for better-known magazines really since my college days. And I wrote a good many record reviews for Rolling Stone in the early days.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is... No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric, name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. Name that lyric only on the show with no name, the show with no name, the show with no name. It's name that lyric only on the show with no name.
All right, amigos, great job. Wonderful job today. What can I say? Hats off. Hats off to all of you. Thank you so much again for choosing to learn English and laugh with me every morning here on the show with no name. It's an absolute pleasure, and I insist it's because of you guys. So keep it up. You are driven, and when somebody is driven, motivado, mentalizado, they are unstoppable. All right, folks, here's a song for you today. It's I wanna take you higher. Te quiero llevar a lo más alto. I wanna take you higher. It says the beat is getting stronger. We looked at the word beat before in the expression to miss a beat. He never misses a beat. No se pierde ni una. Well, the beat is el compás, el ritmo. The beat is getting stronger. Music's getting longer too. And the music's getting longer. Music is flashing, haciendo destellos. I want to take you higher. I want to take you higher. Just be careful, because if you say, I want to get you higher, que es perfectamente normal en esta canción de los 70, I want to get you higher, es quiero colocarte más, okay? I want to take you higher, quiero llevarte a lo más alto. And I think that's a perfect way to end the show. Guys, I want to take you higher. I want to take you to new heights in your English. So thank you for trusting me and for coming aboard with me every day. Por subirte a mi nave, my crazy rocket ship to everywhere and anywhere. So, folks, I want you to get down. Well, I'll give you two more phrasal verbs. I want you to get up and get down. Esa la aprendemos de James Brown. Get up, get on down. Get up means levántate, and get down means dance. Yeah. Thank you, folks. We'll be back tomorrow with more. I promise. Ciao. Ow. Stronger. You.